It is. We are recording. Let's go.
Right on. So we are now in week 6, 1.6 episode of the Fantasy Fling podcast, Fantasy Fling, fantasy football without the commitment. So we're going to jump right into the hot plays of week 5, give you our walk of shame plays. It was a pretty shameful week all around. And then we'll give you the hot plays of week 6. And as always, we do give you access to the hot DFS deals. That's what we do. That's why we're here. And Eric, let's start it. I guess I will start it out this week. The top plays, hot plays of week 5. We're going to start with the quarterbacks. Some of those top guys over on DraftKings, which is the main DFS platform that we use on this show if we're not playing player props, which I love doing as well. We'll tell you a little bit more about that later. Number 1, we had Patrick Mahomes coming in at 30. Eric, you're a Raiders fan. Obviously, that was the way that game went. You're pretty excited about that. But nonetheless, for Patrick and the Chiefs, fantasy-wise, there was a lot of production to be had there.
The outcome.
Yeah.
Sir.
I mean, maybe you can tell Eric's a Raiders fan if you're watching this on YouTube.
You probably see the shit in the
A
background
little
there.
bit back there. Yeah, all that stuff that needs to go in the trash. But anyways, number 2.
Who hangs toilet paper on their wall? That's weird.
Number 2, we had Ryan Tannehill. This wasn't on the main slate, but that's fine. We like to show the consistency, the top guys, as you're looking forward. We look back so we can look forward and project. So Tannehill, Tennessee was crazy good last night. I did not expect them.
I wouldn't have played him against the Bills, man. I would not have
play.
played him against the Bills.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
whatever. Normally, great score though.
Yeah, especially that touchdown to A.J. Brown.
Bullshit.
Probably a little soft spot right there. We'll get into our matchup a little later.
Josh Norman doesn't want to hear it either right now.
Yeah.
He's trying to forget it.
And can we talk about Josh Norman has been so overrated for so long. The dude wants to be like Richard Sherman in his prime so bad. He's nothing of the sort. He got put in his place real bad last night.
He had like 2 good years, and that was about it, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic.
It's magic, baby.
Show goes on. 27 points. Herbert. This kid looks like he's going to be a problem. He's athletic. He's got a big arm. He's not scared. He slings it all over the field. As a Broncos fan, I hope Drew Lock is the answer because it's going to look pretty bleak around here if he's not when you got division. Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes just taking turns on all the other teams in the division.
My turn, baby.
Yeah. Kyler Murray coming in at number 5 with 27.30 points, so just behind Herbert. It's basically a tie. Just outside of the top 5, we had Deshaun Watson, who we did tell you would have a big game on last week's show. Again, Deshaun Watson is crazy talented, and Bill O'Brien was out. We knew it was coming. It was a really good week for him. Fuller, Cooks, those guys. So with that, I will let Eric take over going to the running backs.
Yeah, for the quarterbacks, man, there's a couple. Fitzmagic, he's hit or miss. He's been hit this year so far, except for game 1. But moving on the running backs, Mike Davis. Yep. You look at him, Mike Davis is. He's not Christian McCaffrey. He's not as good. Don't get me wrong, but the guy, if you watch him on film, he's really good. The guy can do everything, just about everything McCaffrey can do. Not quite as good, but he just doesn't have that acceleration like he does. But if you look back at last year with the Bears, I think Mike Davis got 1 series, and then he was benched for David Montgomery. If you look at the 2 play on film, I'm pretty sure the Bears are like, it's the same mistake. We drafted Mitch Trubisky over Mahomes and over Watson, and good job, Bears. Like, sorry, Bears fans, you guys have fucked up the last couple of years. But anyway, another Mike Davis, just another example of that. He scored almost 30 points, incredible. Moving on, Todd Gurley had a good year, or good week. He had 25 points. He had a couple good runs that he bounced out. He's really good at kind of bouncing the runs out. His vision is really good. He's not as good as he used to be. Like his legs aren't, but he still has good vision. Good
Absolutely.
point. Miles Sanders, Taco. I know you played him in our league, but
played both him and Mike Davis. I'm losing Mike Davis probably after this week.
I was trying to acquire Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs everywhere because I knew there was a bounce back coming. They're both way too talented. It happened this week. Miles Sanders, 24 points. Zeke, top of the list at 23 points. No surprise, the guy's a stud. Always is there. And then Josh Jacobs, dear to my heart, who I tried to get also, which if you listened to last week, Brandon traded away. Josh Jacobs had 22.5 points. Incredible week.
We had a trade on air.
Didn't like that trade. Yeah. I liked it for you, but I didn't like it because I wanted Jacobs. Anyway,
with Elliott, with obviously everything that happened with Dak, higher production. What do you think at this point? You're not going to see
absolutely
the red rifle running. You're not going to see the red rifle.
There's
sneaks on the 3-yard line.
With the whole thing with this, like with the whole Zeke thing, there's if you're familiar with what the crutch argument is, people will be like, oh, well, they're going to have to run more because, Andy Dalton's there. But defenses are like, look, we know they're going to run more because Zeke is there. So you can have a crutch argument on either side. We don't know how it's going to turn out. But we've seen Andy Dalton. He's been good for periods of time, and he's also sucked really bad for periods of time. I think we know what Andy Dalton is after, 10 years. So
they're definitely going to run the offense through Zeke.
Yeah, it won't change much, but they're going to have to change it up a little, though, because they're going to start stacking boxes when you're dealing with Dalton. So,
you're not
moving on to the receivers, though. So, if you look at the top 4 receivers this week, you'd be like, I mean, for, who the fuck is Travis Fulgham, right? Like, okay, so we topped the list for Chase Claypool. The guy scored almost 43 points. I mean, Deontay Johnson got hurt. Juju didn't play well. I mean, this is an anomaly. I think you did the research, Brandon. Like, you looked at top receivers, even the best of the best. And a 4-touchdown game is just incredibly rare. It's insane.
Absolutely.
It's an anomaly.
It's definitely like an extreme outlier. I looked at like DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, Beckham, Ridley, Julio, like some of the best of the best. I looked back past 3 years, couldn't find one 3-touchdown performance. They all had like 2 touchdown games, but not one 3-touchdown game. And Chase Claypool had 4. I mean, it's just as extreme as outliers get.
It's up there, and Deontay. We'll get to that later, but I love the guy, man. But he's killing me. And this week too cost me this week.
Killing the drywall.
Number 2, Travis Fulgham, if I'm even saying that right. I'm not familiar with the guy. It was Ward before this, Greg Ward. The guy put up 31 points. The guy's, I don't know if he's a stud. He put up a lot of points. I don't know if it's week to week with the Eagles. I wouldn't suggest him upcoming. I mean, it might be an outlier thing, but that's what I meant about the top 4. So top 4 were Chase Claypool, Travis Fulgham, Brandon Cooks, who's good, but it's like, really? 30 points. And then Jamison Crowder was 25 points. There were a couple in between. Adam Thielen and Mike Williams outscored him, but they were not on the main slate. So you have Claypool, Fulgham, Brandon Cooks, and Jamison Crowder rounding out the top. And then, coming just behind him is DeAndre Hopkins. Stud. But, sometimes you get surprised by weeks. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Moving on to
before I was gonna say, before you finish on the wide receivers, like just to tell you how crazy this was. So the guy who won $1 million on DraftKings, right? So I mentioned this. This is part of my argument. So you look at his lineup, there's really nothing like overall special about it. Like when you look at the games, what Vegas told you were going to be the highest scoring games, he did a double stack with Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Kelsey, right? Like a casual fan could have probably put that together. But where he differs is, again, he also went heavy on the Giants-Dallas game because that was going to be a high-scoring game. So he got Devontae Freeman, 16 points, pretty good, right? Yes. Yeah, exactly. Slayton, 23 points. Slayton was the guy I was heavy on too. And then his other two moves, a couple guys outside of those games, but we're also in some of the higher scoring projected slates. Gurley, 28 points. Again, he had a great game, but 28 points. And then Robbie Anderson, I mean, he's been killing it. So you get nothing crazy there. But when you play a guy like Claypool, you're like, oh, I have a hunch. He has a hunch. So, I mean, who's to say that Claypool would have had that kind of game if Deontay Johnson was healthy? I'm going to say he probably wouldn't have. I think he would have had a good game, but a 4 touchdown game, come on. So that is one of those things where you just throw a dart and you just catch fire and you win $1 million.
When he knows how many lineups did he play, he just is like, exactly. Got to throw darts. Sometimes that.
Yeah.
I mean, you get what was his name? Was it Jonas Gray or something? The guy from the Patriots running back had that game where he scored like 32 points and won that guy like $1 million. It's the same thing. It's like who the hell expected that, but it happened. So sometimes you gotta be a little risky. A couple lineups.
Absolutely.
Might end up scoring like second to last place, but you might score up the first place. So
might win $1 million. By the way, Paul, the guy that took second place, his name is Polish Kids. So I thought you'd appreciate that since you're Polish.
Hey, what we're doing this week, we're winning.
Paul, you probably got some Polish kids running around out there somewhere.
There's probably some. They'll never find me.
I'll fly through the tight ends. Everyone loves the tight end, and
sometimes you finish too fast on the tight ends. You
gotta
take your time.
Sometimes it happens, man. Sometimes you gotta, sometimes they underperform. I don't know. Kelsey, when you see him finish at the top, I don't think you'd ever be surprised. Here, Andrews, almost 25 points. Jonnu Smith, actually, he wasn't on the main slate, but he had a good game. And the guys had, I think, 3 out of 10's only played 4 games. So so I think half the games they played, he's definitely like a GPP play. If you want to ever take a shot at like high scoring tight end, throw in Jonnu. Mark Andrews was 17. Darren Waller, Mike Gesicki was 14 points, and I think the biggest surprise on this was Darren Fells. Akins was out. He had a good game. He had one good play pretty much throughout the whole game if you watched it. Akins was out. There was one tight end left because of the concussion. He missed the game. I wouldn't bank on him next week, to be honest with you. But that rounds out the tight ends. I mean, Kelsey, Andrews, Waller, no surprise. Even Gesicki, no surprise. But Fells, not bad.
And we did say Kelsey was due for some positive regression.
It is, man.
And he hit it. He's number 1 on that. I think we said the same thing about Andrews. And by the way, Jacobs too. We said Jacobs was due to get in the end zone. I was cursing, as far as running backs go anyways, Jacobs. I was cursing like halfway through the game, like what is going on with Jacobs? And then, of course, he gets in the end zone twice. So there's that positive regression, touchdown regression we were talking about.
I'll let you go.
God damn it. So the Raiders intercepted the ball at like the Chiefs 20-yard line, brought it all the way down to like the Chiefs 2-yard line, and then Jacobs runs it in. Like, couldn't you just score the touchdown? You don't have to be stopped from 2. You already ran it 70 yards. Just run the touchdown. If that happened, I would have won this week. So I'm very bitter about this whole week because so many things happened in the last minute that I'm just bitter. Sorry.
Well, we'll touch it a little more on that.
Sorry about that. It brought up some bad memories. Sorry.
It's all right. I'll let you expand on that in
I don't need to.
2 minutes.
We'll get you a new keyboard for Christmas.
Yeah.
Not playing StarCraft, but yeah, maybe.
So defense, run right through this. Ravens against Cincinnati. We knew that was going to happen. 26 points. The Browns 13. The Rams, we knew they were going to kill it too. 12 points. Dolphins, kind of surprising at number 4 with 12 points, tied with the Dolphins, and then the Giants, which is kind of, again, surprising because they were going against Dallas, and you think high scoring on both sides. You don't really think defense is going to produce any points, but nonetheless, they did. Now that rounds out the hottest plays of the week, top 5. Now we're going to talk about some of our hot plays of the week. I will start it out. I had Deshaun Watson. We talked about it. It felt like he was going to go off with Bill O'Brien being fired. He did really well for me. 29 points. Zeke, 23 points. Darius Slayton. I was all about that Daniel Jones, Slayton stack. Slayton worked out for me. Daniel Jones, not so much. Deshaun Watson to Cooks. I did that stack as well, and that worked out. I got 33 points. Robbie Anderson, he had a really good matchup, and, he's just been fire. So played him, 22 points. And then Marquise Brown, again, this is something we talked about last week. He was due to get in the end zone. He hadn't gotten in the end zone yet this year, and he did this past week. So he did, yeah. Now, Eric, how about your hot plays?
Yeah, man, I played Chase Claypool in every single league. I knew it was going to happen. Call it. I knew it.
I'm rich.
That's it.
You're rich. You're a millionaire.
Oh,
Why did
yes.
I bring the pizza tonight?
Yeah,
Why couldn't you have got the pizza, and we could have got some place way better than Domino's? Some
you might be
local,
rich.
really expensive pizza.
There are some good ones by your house. We'll have to go with that next time. But Claypool, Fulgham, I had zero shares of them. Did not happen. I did play Jacobs. That was probably the biggest of the best play I had all week, which was great for DFS, bad for season-long fantasy. But Jacobs, you're playing the Chiefs. You figure that their defense has been better, but it's just going to be it's a divisional game. It's a high-scoring game, or was slated to be a high-scoring game. I played Jacobs everywhere. That was probably the best play I did all week.
Yeah.
I did play Mike Davis a lot, who was a lot less, and he scored almost as many points. I didn't play Brandon Cooks at all. I did play a couple of these I threw in Crowder, because he seems – if you looked at every single game of all 3 games Crowder's played this year, he scored like 13 or more points in every single game, and he's always – including this week, which we'll get into on some takes I like this week, he's like 6,000 again. Like Crowder, whether it's like Flacco, whether it's Sam Darnold, whether it's a shitty quarterback you want to put back there, Crowder seems to do okay. So those are my best ones that I did. I didn't see Gurley coming. That was I did play CEH in a lot of leagues. That was kind of a fail. So it's, I guess, not a hot take, but he did have a touchdown that was killed by Kelsey. Who he later reclaimed, but yeah, those were the best ones for me. I didn't have I played Deontay John. Like, that's not a hot take though, so never mind. Those were the best ones that I played. I had kind of a shitty week.
Yeah, no worries, man. It's a lot of people had a shitty week. Paul, do you have any hot plays for you?
And by shitty week, I still actually have profited overall, but shitty week just in overall.
Well, no, because I don't play DFS, but in my league, our league, I told you last week on the podcast, Taco is coming back and the team's going to do work. And the team came back and did work. That's all I got.
Okay. That's great. That's great breakdown for us there. I appreciate that, Paul.
Yep.
Well,
I'm here for
I'm sure we'll have – this will be a little longer segment than normal. The walk of shame for the week. We had a shameful week. First off, when we premiered the podcast, I talked about there's no love in our league, and you saw it this week. We had quite a few meltdowns in the group chat, and starting on Thursday night all the way till this morning with the waiver wire fiasco. People were mad they weren't getting their fat budget money for COVID players. People were losing games they shouldn't have lost. We were having disagreements. People were calling other people out for bending the rules, which is fucking bullshit, I might add. Is what it is.
We had a player dump his entire team onto waivers this morning because he got pissed.
It's funny, when Brandon showed up here at my house tonight, I mentioned that. I was like, should I say it? It's like, fuck all these guys. I don't want any of them. I'm so mad at drop.
Yeah.
I'll
show you.
Man, you're leaving it up to the vultures, and I'm freaking.
Yeah. I was like, what? These guys are available? God, I wish I had more than $13 of fat budget.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a shameful week. I'll start it. Yeah, I'll start it. Not going to get into the details of anything else, but as far as like my DFS walk of shame plays of the week, there were quite a few. I mean, I'd say overall I won a little bit of money in, DraftKings and Prize Picks, which I'll get into. But when you're kind of going with the Daniel Jones stack in a lot of your lineups and he only scores 9 points, that's going to be a walk of shame for me. Shame. Duke Johnson, a couple of lineups, GPP lineups. It's one of those things where, it's a good matchup and you're just kind of punting your flex, just trying to fit guys in. And so I started him like, oh, maybe he'll fall into the end zone a couple times. Not so much, 2.9 points. George Kittle is back. We were all happy to see Kittle. What wasn't going to happen 2 weeks in a row? They just got throttled by the Dolphins. Nobody saw that coming. 8 points from Kittle. Eric Ebron, same thing. What ended up being an extremely high-scoring game. And believe me, I know, because somehow I picked the under on the Eagles and the Steelers, and it ended up being like over 70 points, I feel like. It was something crazy like that. And the under was like 45, so it was a shit show. Ebron, he didn't get into the end zone. I mean, he got 8 points. And then that same game, Eric, we both started Deontay Johnson. I tweeted about this. If I start Deontay Johnson, he's getting hurt. Like, happens every time. I don't play him a lot, but the 2 times I played him in my lineups, he got hurt like immediately and just trashed that lineup on 0.80 points. Come on. Ingram, again, if you're trying to punt the position, go cheap. You look at a high-scoring game, 9 points from Ingram, that's just not going to cut it. Not when you're in the GPP and you're trying to win $1 million or 200,000 or 100,000. You're going to need a lot more from your tight end.
Yeah.
That sums it up for me. What you got?
Oh, man. So to add on to what you said about Ingram, like I played him in my league. He scored okay, but part of the point he scored was a reverse touchdown, and he had 2 targets. They're playing against the Cowboys, right, who give up points to everybody. He had 2 targets the whole game. Without that touchdown, he would have been. I mean, he did get another actual touchdown in the end zone, but it was missed. Which, Daniel Pennies can't hit anybody. Yeah, and add on Deontay Johnson.
We thought he was going to be Daniel Quarters this week, but
man, right? It's like the perfect matchup. It's like everyone gives up points to the Cowboys. Everyone does, except for him. If you look at his stat, they scored a lot of points, but it's like you look at the box score. I mean, you can watch the game or watch the box score, but like how the hell did they get so many points? Like there was defensive touchdown. It was just a weird game for as far as points goes. Nobody on the Giants got a lot. Maybe Freeman, but Deontay Johnson, he screwed me in daily in season long and in DFS. I got screwed. That was probably my biggest failure because it cost me both. I lost against you, Brandon, and I lost some of the leagues too because of him. Kittle, I didn't play Kittle. I know Kittle scored. It's funny when you talk about Kittle scoring 8 points. It's like, I hope my tight end scores 8 points. And Kittle scores 8 points. You're like, that's not very good.
Right.
It says a lot, right? It says a lot.
Yeah.
Those are probably my biggest fails. I did play Daniel Jones in a couple lineups too, which wasn't very good. I was like, how could you not score against the Cowboys? It was, not very good. I did play Mo Ali Cox. Goose egg in one league. That wasn't very good as well. I think I had more failures this week than not, but I ended up winning only by like 52% the margin, but I still won this week. But it was a bad week as far as the plays that I chose. The ones I went with, it was pretty bad.
Paul, you got any walk of shame nominations?
My fucking walk of shame is 1-4 in the league, by the way. 1-4. That's the biggest one. Anyway, sorry, Paul.
Yeah, first two worst. First two worst.
I'm in 11th place, not 12th. I'm just saying. Just saying. Not worst yet.
You're edging there, but you know.
I mean, I don't know if anyone started Scott Miller. I played against Scott Miller, and I'm pretty sure his owners wanted to kill him.
Ryan
He
did.
didn't even get a look from Brady. Yeah, and AJ Green's dead to me. I don't think anybody's playing him in anything, but personally, he is now, after this week, dead to me.
Not anymore.
On the bench,
Yeah.
so that's fine. Didn't start him, but now he's injured. Sorry, man.
These things happen. Well, so we're going to get into hot plays of week 6, but also one thing I wanted to go over, you know, we break it down on this show and we talk about it. Like, people can spend hours and hours like doing research for these lineups, and you can have a good lineup that, you know, beats most of the field, but you still lose to the Sharks. So that is why we are really big in the player prop market, because here's the deal. If you do a lot of research on these player props, like, it's pretty easy to guess the over-under on, you know, these top guys. And that's the good thing, is you don't have to choose a bunch of them. You're going 2 to 4 players, and you're picking the over-under, and you can do them individually. You can do a one-on-one bet. You can parlay it, essentially. So, you know, you can get like 3 times your entry on that. So specifically what we use is Prize Picks. And like last week, my entry was $20, and I hit on Josh Jacobs hitting the over and Marquise Brown hitting the over. Because, again, we talked about it on this show. They were due for some positive touchdown regression. So we got Marquise Brown. The over was 13.5. He finished with almost 20. Same thing with Jacobs. His over was 16.5. He finished with 22. I know that was kind of brutal for Eric that week, but
Hey, my team won, so I'm okay.
I was happy to triple my entry. And then the good thing about it is, like, you're done with the week, right? But you can just do player props on, like, Monday night. Last night we had Tuesday night football to do player props on. So, you know, you make it fun. You even do like $5, and you know, if you parlay it, then, you know, you're looking at $15. It is what it is. I did Hunter Henry and Emmanuel Sanders, did not parlay, won one of those entries. And then even second half, you can do second half props. So I did that with the kicker. I said he was going to go under 4.5 points for Badgley. That was pretty easy to hit. And the good thing is, when you're watching this game and you do second half props, you can kind of guess how the second half is going to go just based on the game script. So I did the same thing with Traquan Smith. His prop was 5.5 yards. He ended up with 1.4. So hit on both of those. Highly suggest doing player props. It's so much easier to win than trying to beat out Sharks. We do Prize Picks. In fact, if you sign up with Prize Picks, they will match 100% deposit match your deposit, your first deposit. Just use code Fling. You can find them in the App Store. Yeah, Fling. Fling. Find them in the App Store at Prize Picks or prizepicks.com. So that said, we're going to get into week 6, who we really like this week, the hot plays of the week. First off, what does Vegas think about the main slate games? Again, if you look at any like winning fantasy lineup, you could pretty much, like the $1 million, the 200,000, whatever it may be, the big winners, they more or less model all their rosters. You know, there are outliers, but pretty much each and every week they're going to model their rosters about these Vegas games. So number 1, we have Minnesota and Atlanta this week at 55 points. We have Detroit and Jacksonville at 54.5. We have Green Bay and Tampa Bay. Rodgers versus Brady at 54. We have Tennessee and Houston at 51. And then Pittsburgh and Cleveland at 51. Those are the top 5. Eric, I will start with you. Quarterbacks, who do you like this week?
So just to expand on Green Bay, Tampa, I'm taking the over on that game, by the way, for sure.
Yeah.
Green Bay has been incredible. 54 points, I'll take the over for sure.
Mm-hmm.
On that, with the ones we mentioned, the number one I have, it's kind of like it's the same game actually. Stafford and Minshew, 63 to 6,400. They're both right there. Neither defense can stop anybody. I like them both in this week in cash or GPP. In cash, it can get you 20, 25 points. In GPP, they can both blow up. The other one that I like is actually he's not